Hello again, and welcome back to Year 4 of the Religious Education Initiative. This is Week 18 as we enter the new year of 2024. So we're going to actually continue for one more week to pause. We'll continue to pause from our normal narrative readings and go back once again to the book of Proverbs. This book was written by a father seeking to provide good guidance to his son and by extension to all of us. And he directs us to walk the narrow path of faithfulness, avoiding the common temptations and holding fast to the Lord in all things. It is a good way to begin this new year, remembering that we are called indeed to live in a manner set apart from the brokenness of the world, and that this life to which we are called is truly blessed. So this is Proverbs chapter 22 and chapter 23. The king's heart is a stream of water in the hand of the Lord. He turns it wherever he will. All deeds are right in the sight of the doer, but the Lord weighs the heart. To do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. Haughty eyes and a proud heart, the lamp of the wicked, are sin. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to want. The getting of treasures by a lying tongue is a fleeting vapor and a snare of death. The violence of the wicked will sweep them away, because they refuse to do what is just. The way of the guilty is crooked, but the conduct of the pure is right. It is better to live in a corner of the housetop than in a house shared with a contentious wife. The souls of the wicked desire evil, their neighbors find no mercy in their eyes. When a scoffer is punished, the simple become wiser. When the wise are instructed, they increase in knowledge. The righteous one observes the house of the wicked. He casts the wicked down to ruin. If you close your ear to the cry of the poor, you will cry out and not be heard. A gift in secret averts anger, and a concealed bribe in the bosom strong wrath. When justice is done, it is a joy to the righteous, but dismay to evildoers. Whoever wanders from the way of understanding will rest in the assembly of the dead. Whoever loves pleasure will suffer want. Whoever loves wine and oil will not be rich. The wicked is a ransom for the righteous, and the faithless for the upright. It is better to live in a desert land than with a contentious and fretful wife. Precious treasure remains in the house of the wise, but the fool devours it. Whoever pursues righteousness and kindness will find life and honor. One wise person went up against a city of warriors and brought down the stronghold in which they trusted. To watch over mouth and tongue is to keep out of trouble. The proud, haughty person named scoffer acts with arrogant pride. The craving of the lazy person is fatal, for lazy hands refuse to labor. All day long the wicked covet, but the righteous give and do not hold back. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination, how much more when brought with evil intent. A false witness will perish, but a good listener will testify successfully. The wicked put on a bold face, but the upright give thought to their ways. No wisdom, no understanding, no counsel can avail against the Lord. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but the victory belongs to the Lord. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver or gold. The rich and the poor have this in common: the Lord is the maker of them all. The clever see danger and hide, but the simple go on and suffer for it. The reward for humility and fear of the Lord is riches and honor and life. Thorns and snares are in the way of the perverse. The cautious will keep far from them. Train children in the right way, and when old they will not stray. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is the slave of the lender. Whoever sows injustice will reap calamity, and the rod of anger will fail. Those who are generous are blessed, for they share their bread with the poor. Drive out a scoffer, and strife goes out. Quarreling and abuse will cease. Those who love a pure heart and are gracious in speech will have the king as a friend. The eyes of the Lord keep watch over knowledge, but he overthrows the words of the faithless. The lazy person says, "There is a lion outside. I shall be killed in the streets." The mouth of a loose woman is a deep pit. He with whom the Lord is angry falls into it. Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline drives it far away. Oppressing the poor in order to enrich oneself and giving to the rich will lead only to loss. So a couple thoughts. There's a lot that we could say here, a lot that we could dig into. In the note on the website, I noted at the very beginning where it says that the heart of the king is like a stream of water that is directed by the Lord. And now this is a challenging but thoughtful metaphor for that intersection of our human free will and God's will, especially in the case of a king. Those who are powerful, those who are mighty, those who have the capacity to coerce and control and threaten others, have more capacity, it seems, to do what their own will desires than anyone else. And yet, the Lord is not absent from them, and will still guide them, whether they will or not, towards the ultimate end of the healing and the restoration of the creation. That king may not be saved himself, and yet the Lord will still work salvation. Anyway, it's a challenging image, but one I think that it's worth thinking about. But more broadly, all of these, they don't necessarily go together. These aren't a collection of, this isn't a narrative. It's not going through and saying, nor is it a syllogism. It's not saying this is true, therefore this is true, and therefore this is true. There are no conclusions being aimed at. Each verse, effectively, is a proverb unto itself, a little piece of wisdom, of truth. So, I think, though, chapter 23, verse 6 is a valuable one to remember as we are doing these readings, because this is the one that reads, "Train children in the right way, and when they are old, they will not stray." So the translator even puts in a little bit of a rhyme. This is why we read these things. This is why we teach our children. This is why we strive and struggle to, by word and by deed, give a good example to the young people that God has entrusted to our care, so that they may learn what is true and what is right, so that when they grow old, they have a strong foundation. Some of the Proverbs speak of how things should be. Some of them speak of how they are, but ultimately, the longer one lives, the more one understands there's not a distinction between what should be and what is. When what should not happen happens, evil results. And that is simply how it is. It's not just how it should be. It is the truth. It may take some time for injustice to reap its reward, its consequences, for evil and sin and excess to bring, to receive the recompense, the results, not the recompense as though it's a punishment that God gives. The deed itself is its own punishment, even if it's not seen immediately. It's like eating a bowl of candy. The result will be a bellyache, but it doesn't come immediately, but it will definitely come. So anyway, some of these are more challenging, some of them are more obvious, some of them are thought-provoking, but all of them are worthwhile to reflect upon, so long as we remember and take to heart that responsibility that we have to teach and instruct and rightly raise our children and grandchildren and godchildren in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord. So, Happy New Year. If you're reading this on the day that we post it, then it's New Year's Eve. If you read it on Monday, then Happy New Year, the first of the year, and Chronia Pola to anyone who celebrates for St. Basil. So God bless you all. We'll see you shortly for day 2.